topic that I meant to get in last week, but it's kind of a quickie, and we'll get it in this week before we got to start wrapping up the show. But I read a potential NBA trade rumor this last week that stood out to me, and I just want to shout it from the rooftops and do whatever I can to help it happen. Apparently, the Los Angeles Lakers might be interested in making a trade to the Minnesota Timberwolves to acquire the point guard services, air quotations, of one Ricky Rubio. Now, granted, it's the greatest name to announce in the history of sports announcing. I feel like he missed his calling. He should have been a soccer player or something. I mean, could you imagine a soccer announcer with a name like Ricky Rubio? Yeah, way better. But anyway, apparently the Lakers might be interested in trading to acquire Ricky Rubio. And all I got to say is bring it on. You can have him for a cheeseburger Happy Meal, okay? If you would just take this guy out of our organization, out of our franchise, and free up all that money, pay him the money that we said we'd pay him, oh my gosh, the Timberwolves would no longer be handcuffed and could full speed move forward with the rebuilding of their franchise. So I have no idea who the Lakers would give us in return, as long as it isn't swaggy, douchey Pete, Nick Young. I don't care. Like I said, it could be a freaking cheeseburger Happy Meal. The only thing I wouldn't take for him is Nick Young. That guy is like the biggest cancer in pro sports. Look up the numbers. It's not just my opinion on him personally. The numbers actually quite overwhelmingly back that up. But so just a little juicy trade rumor there in the NBA that I wanted to throw out there, and whatever we as T-Wolves fans need to do to help make that happen and get Rubio traded to anywhere. I don't care if it's the Lakers. It could be anywhere. Let's get that done so that we can officially be rebuilding, growing the franchise, and moving forward. All right, now we are getting real close to the end of show time, so I will try to squeeze the last bit in that we got as fast as I can. And our last topic for the day is pro wrestling. That's right, I usually save it towards the end of the show. SummerSlam this past Sunday was hit and miss. Overall, it was a good pay-per-view. A lot of the matches were mediocre at best, I felt. In my opinion, your best matches from the show were not in any particular order, mind you. But your best matches from the show were the Kevin Owens-Cesaro match, the Brock Lesnar-Undertaker match, although the finish wasn't necessarily, desirable, but I think it was highly predictable and necessary. The finish was ref got knocked out, Undertaker gave Brock a low blow, because that's the only way he can beat Brock, and then, tombstone, whatever, and conveniently ref comes to and Taker wins. Oh yeah, that's right, Taker was tapping out. And the ref was actually not watching the tap, he was watching Brock's shoulders and counting a pin. And the bell keeper saw Undertaker tapping out and rang the bell. Well, since the ref didn't call for the bell to be rung, he was all like, "What are you doing? I didn't call for the bell to be rung. Match is still going on." Of course, in that confusion, then, Undertaker low blows, gets Brock in a submission, and then Brock doesn't tap out. Brock doesn't get pinned. Brock gives Undertaker the middle finger and passes out. So, very tainted asterisk cheating. Win, victory, if you can call it that. Result, I think, would be better to call it that. And then similar incident in the title for title match involving Seth Rollins and John Cena. And boy, we pretty much called that one here last week on the show at Balls Deep Sports Talk as predicted. Jon Stewart was involved in the finish. However, as my son, so obviously pointed out to me that it was a better idea than my version, the Jon Stewart was going to actually attack John Cena and be a shocking heel reveal. Whereas I said Stewart would, attack Seth Rollins. But yes, in effect, Stewart attacked Cena, allowing Seth Rollins to get the victory. And then later the next day on Monday Night Raw, Jon Stewart was out in the ring. Cena came out and gave him an attitude adjustment to the old man. Let's see. Also on SummerSlam, the tag team titles changed. New Day is now your tag team champions again. And then coincidentally on Monday Night Raw, the tag team division got a huge boost with the return of Devon and Bubba Ray Dudley. The Dudley Boys 3D is back in the WWE. The roof blew off the freaking building there in New York when they came out. And a much-needed jolt to the tag team division, which has been pathetic lately. So very happy to see the primetime players lose the titles as they never deserved to have them in the first place. And we're ruining them by possessing them and then getting them back into the hands of New Day, an actual worthy tag team, and bringing in the Dudley Boys to add some new excitement to that division. All your other stuff off of SummerSlam, as far as that fallout goes, you get the WWE Network and watch it. It's only $9.99 a month. It's a no-brainer deal. Just do it and get it, and be a real wrestling fan like me and the people in my household. Like, I'm serious. If you're not on food stamps and you're a wrestling fan, then you pay $9.99 a month for WWE Network. If you don't, then you're Mr. Krabs or something. Like, I mean, yo, super cheap, money. You know, just watch it on WWE Network. But Raw the following Monday was arguably a better show than SummerSlam was, to be quite honest with you. Again, the Dudleys, Cena with Stewart, just so many things. And then at the end of Raw, we had a statue being presented to Seth for holding the United States and the WWE World Heavyweight title at the same time. When the veil came up, literally 5 seconds before the veil went up, I looked to the left and I said, watch, there'll be Sting under there. And boom, the curtain came up and it was Sting under there. And then after the show, they announced that is your WWE World Heavyweight title match, hopefully main event, at the next pay-per-view for Night of Champions. Will be Seth Rollins versus Sting for the WWE Championship. And I'm not sure what the plans are with the United States title. I assume John Cena is entitled to his rematch for it at some point in time. So it's possible that Seth Rollins could be in 2 matches at Night of Champions defending both of his new titles, which would be a great way to get the U.S. title back to John Cena to continue his U.S. Open title challenge on Monday Night Raw, which was actually a great bit. So I wouldn't mind that route one bit. However, if they have him in both matches and he retains in both matches, and they actually kind of build him and make him look strong a little bit instead of just a whiny, manipulating, backstabbing runawayer, I'd be okay with that too, because Seth Rollins is one of the best performers in the WWE right now. He deserves to have the title. But so that's where we're sitting at right now on that for Night of Champions. Should be a really interesting Night of Champions pay-per-view, especially looking forward to what they do with the Divas title at Night of Champions, considering the current Divas Revolution. Although the WWE is doing everything in its power to destroy the Divas Revolution, they just don't have any idea what they're doing, how to use these performers, and what kinds of storylines, how to work with them. They have no clue, and they're in danger of ruining the whole thing. The performers themselves and the fans are the only people keeping it alive. And it's ironic now saying that the Divas and the fans themselves are seeming to now be at war with each other. For 2 weeks in a row on Monday Night Raw, the Divas have been getting, boring chants, the wave, things like that during their one stupid little segment match that they get to come out and do. And it is not the fans' fault, and it's not the Divas' fault. It is WWE Creative's fault. They are just giving us pointless mashup tag team matches instead of actually doing some character development with all these new faces that are supposed to be part of a revolution, and making storylines for these characters instead of just, we got 9 divas that we'd like to use, and but we're only going to send them out there once a night, for 10 to 15 minutes. So all 9 of you just go out there together at the same time and just, fight each other and whatever. It doesn't have to make sense. You just need to be out there. So it's the WWE's fault, okay? And pro wrestlers, people in the industry, need to stop whining like little babies. You're being counterproductive, okay? I'm talking to you at the Real Mick Foley. That's right. My son's living wrestling idol. I'm calling you out, okay? We were tweeting each other last week. Mick Foley direct messaged me on Twitter last week discussing the Divas Revolution with me. How freaking cool is that? Okay? But I got to call you out, Mick, here just a little bit on the show, okay? Where you're coming from, what you're standing for, totally agree with it. 100%. Everything in regards to your feelings on the Divas Revolution, why you feel the way you do and what you're trying to stand for and accomplish, totally agree with all of it, okay? But what you and the Bellas and all the other divas need to realize is that if you want to, if the revolution for you is achieving equality, is achieving the same level that the male superstars are on, well, guess what? The male superstars constantly get negative chants in their matches all the time for years and years and years and years and years. Male wrestlers have had to put up with boring chants during their matches, or the crowd's breaking into the wave, or starting to chant for JBL and Michael Cole and we want popcorn and things like that. You know what the men do? They just continue their job and they perform, and then when the performance is over, they go back and they move on, and big deal, whatever. It's live entertainment. That happens. They're live crowds. It happens. Okay, so you just do your job and you move on. And it's ironic that there are diva performers in the WWE right now who were responding that way in these last couple matches, namely Charlotte and Becky Lynch, who should be the least professional and the ones the most upset about this. The ones crying are Nikki Bella and Brie Bella and Paige and these other quote-unquote veterans. I guarantee you that while Nikki Bella has been there, that's happened multiple times to male competitor matches, and nobody, not a performer, not a former performer, not an employee, not a media person, not a fan, nobody goes, oh my gosh, that's so mean and unfair, and how can you do that, and it's so disrespectful, there's no excuse, it's unacceptable. Like, come on, like, grow up, like, get some tougher skin and just do your job. You're a live entertainer. It comes with the territory. If you can't handle getting booed by a crowd, then you got no business being a professional wrestler. Okay? So again, I'm all for what you guys are trying to do, but when you come out and cry about it afterwards, when people are checking out and disrespecting your match, you're being counterproductive. You're hurting your own cause. Then you're making everybody that's on the other side go, see, there's their true colors. I told you, So don't do that, okay? Brush it off your shoulder like a pro. Do your job and move on to the next job. That's it, okay? So that's where we're at with the divas and the tags. Quick little note, King Barrett is written off of TV for the time being to go shoot a movie. It has nothing to do with his current relationship or status or anything within the company. Daniel Bryant, Tyson Kidd, Eric Rowan, all still injured. Thanks to the Eric Rowan injury, we had a new Wyatt member finally debut last night. This big, ugly, bearded guy looks totally like a Wyatt. Ironically enough, he was a rosebud for Adam Rose here within the last 6 to 12 months. So, funny how WWE can just repackage guys like that. And so many people don't even notice. But that was really exciting as well. And it made the whole Shield Wyatt family thing now a 3-2 thing. So it'll be interesting to see where Roman and Dean go with that. And then finally, this is balls juicy again, but here's our last bit of wrestling talk. And then we'll try and come up with a balls deep thought of the day to end the show. So former WWE superstar Greg the Hammer Valentine was recently at some sort of Comic-Con convention type of thing where he was appearing on a live recording of a podcast or radio show. And when the show started, a couple minutes into the show starting, Greg took it upon himself. He was not asked about the subject at all. Greg the Hammer Valentine took it upon himself to go to share his feelings on this whole Divas Revolution going on. And if you want to look more into it, look more into it. But in a nutshell, basically Greg went on to say that every woman wrestler and every women's wrestling match that he's ever watched sucked. There's not been a